It's Friday, January 25th. I'm Paul Huckelak. Welcome to TV7.ca. And as my attire might tell you, happy January 25th, Chinese New Year tomorrow, Year of the Rat. I managed to be lucky enough to spend a lot of time in China, so I've got a lot of this attire. So happy Chinese New Year to all of our Chinese friends out there. Tomorrow, January 25th, Year of the Rat. Today, the city is in talks about the feasibility of a regional transit services commission. The RCMP arrests another suspected catalytic converter thief. And the city puts a conditional offer on a piece of land for a new community amenity site. All that and obviously so much more here on TV7.ca every week. But first,
as a result of an executed search warrant on December 17th, the St. Albert RCMP have laid drug-related charges on two men, Dustin Gregory Hill and John Colin Hochschild, both 36 years of age, are facing numerous charges, including possession of a controlled substance for the purpose of trafficking, producing a controlled substance, and possessing a prohibited device. Both men also face various other charges related to the investigation. The search also resulted in the seizure of drugs, equipment, and material used to grow and produce drugs, and over $14,000 in cash. Some weapons were also seized, with one of the two men also facing weapons-related charges. Now, this proactive investigative work by the St. Albert RCMP drug section is one of the policing strategies aimed at keeping St. Albert safe. A second strategy is for the RCMP to partner with the residents of St. Albert by encouraging tips about drug dealers. The St. Albert RCMP drug unit is interested in any information you may have about drug trafficking. Call the RCMP St. Albert drug tip line at 780-460-DRUG. That's 780-460-3784 and provide any information you may have, and you can remain confidential.
Are you a transit commuter? Now, if you are, then you might be interested to learn that the City of St. Albert is in talks with the other Metro Edmonton communities about the feasibility of a Regional Transit Services Commission, or an RTSC. The RTSC report recommended combining transit services of 13 municipalities to create more opportunities for intermunicipal travel. The 13 communities include City of Beaumont, the Town of Devon, the City of Edmonton, of course, the City of Fort Saskatchewan, the City of Leduc County, the Town of Morinville, Parkland County, the City of Spruce Grove, the Town of Stony Plain, Strathcona County, Sturgeon County, and of course our city. Now, they are projecting a $3 million per year savings once systems are fully aligned in 2026. But perhaps a larger benefit is the improvement of mobility options and the movement of people across a rapidly growing region. City of St. Albert Councillor Wes Broadhead, who is also the chair of RTSC Transition Team, is quoted as saying, "We want to provide people living in the region the best possible transit experience we can. With a plan to address integrated regional transit, we can try to close the gap between transit and automobile trips while decreasing congestion and giving everyone the ability to experience what the region has to offer." So, St. Albertans, what do you think? Is a metro transit system a good idea? Leave your comments below and let us know your thoughts.
Well, based on the feedback received from the community in 2019, our City Council has approved an administrative recommendation to move forward with a conditional offer to acquire the lands for a new community amenity site. The project location was chosen in part due to the cost of servicing and developing the other locations that were considered, and to allow for the future growth and development of St. Albert. And the site at Range Road 260 will be easily accessible for others throughout the city as well. Since it is near the proposed Red Willow Trail system expansion, the site could ultimately be accessed not just by car, but also bike and pedestrian traffic, connecting other neighborhoods to the new build. The site itself is a good size and will aim to encourage the use of currently undeveloped land in the area. And now that the site has been selected, the next steps of planning can begin. But any groundbreaking ceremony is still a ways off. Based on the final direction of Council, a concept plan, potential area structure plan amendment, and detailed site planning will need to take place before any construction can start. Decisions relating to funding models, potential partnerships, servicing methods, and any on-site facilities must also be made, and those decisions will take thoughtfulness and planning. Public engagement and concept plan development could start as early as 2021, with design and ultimately construction to follow later. For now, the city is excited to have chosen the site for future amenities for residents in St. Albert to enjoy.
Stephanie Cordova is here to help us get our homes more organized, which I could definitely use with Cut the Clutter.
Last week we talked about simplifying and separating. This week we're going to talk about sorting and your space. Keep like items with like items, and it helps determine how much of something you have, what your inventory is, and what kind of system you will need. For example, a first aid kit will hold all items related to first aid. Find a space in your house that will house the items you keep. Items you use less often can go in a storage room, in your highest cupboards, or in hard-to-reach places. For example, if you use a turkey roaster twice a year, it can go on the highest shelf in your pantry, in your basement, or under a set of stairs, for example. Now you know how much you have, you can get a system that will look and work great in the space that you've selected for the items it needs to house. Your school supplies may go in a clear labeled tote stored in an office closet or in a storage room for when you need to access it, as it's not an everyday bin to open. When considering your space, try and look for extra space in your vertical spaces of your house. Adding an extra shelf in your cupboards or pantry may add the extra space that you need to store those less used items. When picking out your furniture, choose taller bookcases and taller dressers as opposed to wider ones that take up more floor space. And using the ceilings in your garage or storage room will allow you to store items that are not used very often. Join us next week to talk about sustain and systems.
And here is the always impressive Michelle Parker with Let's Get Fit.
Today we're going to be focusing in on self-care. It's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of life that we forget to make ourselves a priority. We rush and rush to get things done, often for everyone but ourselves. So remember, to be the best version of ourselves, we need to take care of us. Well, that includes taking care of our physical health through cardio and strength training. It also includes just slowing down and giving yourself a chance to simply be. I recently learned about the Miracle Morning by Hal Elroy. In his book, he talks about how setting aside as little as 6 minutes per day before 8 a.m. can have the power to transform your life. That 6 minutes is just for you. It can be used for things like reading, journaling, exercising, visualizing, self-affirmations, or meditation, or maybe a combination of these elements. How you choose to use this time to invest in yourself, then make it a morning ritual. This week's challenge is going to be build 6 minutes into your morning routine that's purely for you. That might mean getting up a few minutes early while the rest of the family still sleeps on. Or maybe it means putting out a do not disturb sign on your door so you can invest in yourself. You are worth it. Now, a little bonus for today, we're going to, of course, give you another exercise to build into that morning ritual if you choose to make that exercise. So we're going to get down into our move of the week. This week, it's going to be a lunge. There's so many variations to choose from. What I'm challenging you to do this week is take at least 3 minutes of your morning ritual for at least 5 days and do some lunges. Reverse lunges, pulsing lunges, jump lunges, lateral, so many to choose from. If you have a favorite, we'd love to hear about in the comments below, and maybe we'll feature yours in a future episode of Let's Get Fit. All right, so for our lunge, everyone, you can see how my feet are already placed with one behind the other. So we're gonna be dropping our back knee towards the floor and coming back up, keeping our shoulders stacked over our hips for this one. This is one simple variation, and we have space between our feet, so we got some good stability going on. So you notice when I drag my foot forward, there's still that space. That's what I want to see for each one of you. So your lunges can be a step back and squeezing your glutes as you come up. They could be staying back, as I demonstrated a few moments ago. They could be going backwards and then lunging forward. You can also take this to a lateral lunge, so you're stepping sideways, pushing those hips back as far as you can and coming back up. Now, if you're looking for a little bit more intensity, we can put a little bit of hop into these. So when we're coming back, maybe we're jumping from foot to foot. Maybe we're pulsing. So many great varieties. Like I say, today's challenge, 3 minutes of lunges, at least maybe 3 days per week. See how it goes. Till the next time, everyone, I'm Michelle.
Well, I think the cold weather is behind us for the time being, at least. Last week, photo radar activist Jack Schultz took to the streets to help out stranded motorists and other people in need. The founder of Edmonton Cash Cows offered to boost frozen vehicles for a cash donation that he then used to purchase gloves, hats, and jackets for the less fortunate.
Another very cold day. This is a cold snap that we've had for the last 3 days, and for 3 days now I've been boosting people's cars, which people that are stranded on the side of the road or that I've been doing boosts for $20, and the money that I've generated went all to purchase gloves, hats, jackets, and mitts for the homeless people downtown, as well as Tent City, and just all over the place. That people that don't have the adequate clothing in this weather, we try to keep them warm, and all my proceeds went there. And so far, I think in a day and a half, we came up to about $700 in supplies. So
wow,
it was pretty good.
Nice little dent there.
Yes.
Jack Schultz, of course, has made a name for himself as an anti-photo radar lobbyist and roadside protester. But as this past week has shown us, there is much more to this man than just that. For the complete, unedited interview with Jack Schultz, please check out our website. Doris Charret is a mixed media artist whose paintings invite you to explore the subject, quietly discovering what is really there. She shared her story this week with Memory Roth in Art in the City.
I'm here with St. Albert artist Doris Charret. Welcome, Doris.
Thank you for having me on.
So Doris, I know when I first started painting, I remember hearing your name all the time. So you've been part of the St. Albert art scene for a long time. When did you first start doing your art here?
We moved here 23 years ago, and I joined the Painters Guild right away. I was told that was the place to go for when you're an artist, so I joined. That was when they were in Grandin Mall, so that was a long time ago. And then I just kept doing my artwork and participating in St. Albert events, and that's it. Yeah. And eventually what I did is I also got a studio in Riel Park, and we call it Big Lake Artists. And now we've grown from 3 people to 11 people. So we're quite a few people, and we have an open house every year.
So when did you actually start painting or drawing, or was it when you were quite young?
No, I actually didn't take my first painting lessons till my husband was transferred to Houston. And then I couldn't work, I couldn't go to university, and I was really bored. So my neighbor took me to her painting class, a watercolor class, and that was it. That started me. So I didn't start till my mid-20s, late 20s. Late 20s, painting.
So you were hooked as soon as you started?
I was hooked. It was a challenge, and it was fun, and I really just loved it. Yeah.
So what type of art do you do? What's your favorite medium?
Well, I moved from watercolor to oil to acrylic, and now I'm into mixed media, which means that I use my acrylic and my watercolor and my collage all together, and
that's great.
And play around with the media.
Are you involved with any other groups?
I'm a member of the Alberta Society of Artists, and I'm also a signature member of the Federation of Canadian Artists, and I part of a collective that's province-wide. There's 5 of us, and we're called Devenir.
Okay.
And we show all over the province. And this year, we actually had our first show out of province in Seminar.
Besides your art and the groups you belong to, you also teach. So
I do.
Is that something you do on a regular basis?
Yes and no. I teach mostly in winter time, and I teach at the French College, the Faculté Saint-Jean, and occasionally I teach at the U of A, and I also teach at the St. Albert Seniors Association, and then I have classes online.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Doris.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. I'm Memory Roth with TV7.ca, and this has been Art in the City.
A Fort Saskatchewan man is facing numerous charges as a result of a private security officer's patrol. Last Friday, January 17th, at approximately 1:30 a.m., the RCMP responded to a call in Campbell Park after the security officer witnessed a man trying to open a vehicle's door. Before the arrival of the police, the suspect was observed fleeing the area in a vehicle. This information was updated to the en route police, and the vehicle was located and the suspect was arrested. The vehicle search turned up several tools commonly used in catalytic converter thefts, such as reciprocating saws with multiple blades, headlamps, and grabbing tools. A small quantity of drugs, as well, was also located in the vehicle. 31-year-old Skylar Morneau was charged with possession of break-in instruments, drug possession, and mischief. He also had outstanding warrant for fraud-related offenses and is expected to appear in court on February 3rd. And as always, if you have any information about this or any crime, please contact the St. Albert RCMP, 780-458-7700.
Well, it's hard to believe, but tax season actually is right around the corner. And here to give us a hand is Krista Lucier with this week's Financial Focus.
I want money.
What if you haven't filed your taxes in several years? What do you do then? Generally, there's a 10-year statute of limitations for CRA on collections of past balances of tax. There's also generally a 3-year statute of limitations on audit. That being said, you need to file. If you've not filed, you need to file and deal with any balances due as a separate issue. Filing and being in compliance is your first responsibility. You can make arrangements to resolve balances due after the fact. CRA will usually arrange payments with you, which is often preferred to wage garnishee or bank seizures. I strongly suggest that you work with a professional that you feel comfortable with to help you get your files up to date and deal with CRA in a timely manner. I'm Krista Lucier with Preferred Tax Solutions, and this is TV7.ca.
I want money.
Well, St. Albert, that'll do it for this week. If you have any community events or news you'd like to share with our viewers, please drop us a line at news@tv7.ca. From all of us here at the station, I'm Lisa Rufianch, and have a great week.